Namaskar. Welcome to Prakash on Basics. I am Prakash Zog. I've been discussing the Charwak Darshan or the Charwak philosophy last time. The Charwaks have a practical, pragmatic approach with a sound moral footing. They comment on a variety of ideas that were put forward at that time. One of them was the four Purushartha: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. I've talked of this long back. The Charwaks believe only in two of them, Artha and Kama. Artha is not just wealth but resources also, and Kamana is desire, all forms of desire, and that's what Kama represents. These are the only two that they believe in. Actually, very frankly speaking, in this materialistic world today, all of us have these two goals in mind at all times. All happiness, all satisfaction is linked to these two aspects. The fourth, which is moksha, that is salvation, does not have any valid proof, which is pratyaksha pramana. So the Charwaks don't believe in moksha at all. They don't accept anything beyond this life. And the first one is dharma. I've gone into a detailed discussion on this long back. But in spite of all those ideas expressed there, the Charwaks say that you can practice dharma only if you have the necessary resources for it. That is artha. A poor man cannot take care of his parents, so he is not following his dharma. He cannot donate, he cannot give dan, he cannot donate for charity or help others. The capacity to do all this comes only if you have artha, that is the necessary resources. There is another aspect. Remember last time that I mentioned that every darshan is expected to provide answers to about 5 or 6 basic questions. The origin of the universe, how it would end, how it is sustained, who has created it, what is the cause of life, who is the creator, what is Atma, what are Vedas, what is Moksha. All these are to be answered according to their own logic by every possible darshan. The Charwaks give their own answers. According to them, there is no creator. Everything originates from some particles known as kana, which are associated with the 4 basic elements: earth, fire, water and air, something that I mentioned last time. Even life originates from these kanas. It's like saying that you mix different things and get a new product. That's how life originates, from these 4 basic elements, and it is sustained by consuming other kanas. The life force, that is chetana, is also because of these 4 basic elements. The body with chetana, that is the life force, is the dehatma, that is the mind and the soul put together, because the Charwaks don't accept Atma as an independent entity at all. When the body dies, everything comes to the end. And what about the universe? The universe again is formed by the interaction of these 4 Mahabhutas, or the 4 basic elements. The 5th one, which is Akash, is something that they don't believe in. I'm going to repeat some of the ideas that I mentioned last time because they have a logical link this time. Life, as I said, originates from these four elements, and when things end, they merge back into the body breaks down and merges back into these four elements. The breath after death mixes with air, the body warmth goes back to fire, the blood and the fluids go back to water element, and the life force is distributed in the surroundings, and if there is an Akash, it could go into space. Life is sustained by the consumption of these in different forms from other materials. And what about the end of the universe? According to the Charwaks, how does it matter? Because when one's own life ends, what happens after it is meaningless and is irrelevant. When one dies, everything ends. In Hindi, there is a term known as "ki farak penna," which means how is it going to matter later on? And what about God and Brahma? Their objections are very clear. Where is the verifiable proof? Where is the pratyaksha pramana for God and Brahma? If it's not there, you have to refute their existence. And what about Niyanta, that is the controlling power? According to the Charwaks, there is no controlling power there is no one to observe what you are doing, there is no one to ensure whether you are doing things correctly or not, in the form of that great power that is believed by everybody else. But they put forward a very logical alternative. They say it's not the Lord, but the King who is as good as God. He is the Lord of the land. He is the true God. So there is no need for another supernatural power when the king or the ruler is present. In today's context, it becomes the ruling government that is around. It is the king who is the one who puts forward all the laws and ensures that they are implemented. Within his own domain, he controls everything. He controls an individual's well-being, and that is a part of the responsibility of the king, which is known as the Raja Dharma. He is the one who provides justice and gives it out much faster than God can. According to the Charwaks, the nation is nothing but the king's manifestation itself. Today, of course, as I said, it is the government. And even then, one of the first prayers that is addressed everywhere is to Ganapati. But the literal meaning of Ganapati is Gana, which is associated with Ganarajya or the dominion of the people, and Pati is the head. So it finally comes down to the first prayer, which is always dedicated to Ganapati, the ruler, to the king himself. He bestows prosperity, he ensures the well-being, he provides the law and order. So the Charwaks say, respect, follow the king, strengthen his arms. I had mentioned long back, why do people need God? To provide an impossible solution to your immediate problems, which is beyond logic, and that is achieved somehow by his grace. Actually, a good ruler can definitely do all this, but then the rules that he puts forward are to be followed by everyone in that land, in that dominion. If you do not, you are a hazard to others, and the Charwaks don't accept this. And then the most commonly quoted Charwak statement, that too has been misinterpreted quite a bit. Yavat jivet sukham jivet, runam krutva ghrutam pibet, bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. That is the one. And translated, it boils down to life is precious, live happily as long as you live. If you get into debt, drink ghee, for once your body turns to ashes, there is no coming back of thee. And that's the rough translation of this quote, which is believed to be of the Charwaks, and this by all other darshans has been misinterpreted as their selfish, materialistic viewpoint. But I think if we think carefully, there could be a different meaning attached to all this. All later interpreters have followed suit blindly without giving it a logical thought. Let's look carefully. Living happily is what all of us desire, and that's our objective every time, every second. Nobody wants to live in a sad state permanently. If he can avoid it, he will. So it is essential that we understand and accept the first statement itself. And then the second one, which says even if you have to take debt, go and have ghee. They don't say steal, or they don't say take forcibly. They say take debt. If you cannot afford, take debt. And the rule in India, of course, at all times was that the debt is to be repaid. That's a moral binding on you, and runas are very important. And the conclusion, they don't say splurge the runa or the debt that you have, money that you have borrowed. Don't splurge it on drinks or take to other vices. They say take ghee, clarified butter. That's one of the best nourishments that can be provided to an individual, because that is expected to keep your body healthy and fit, so that you can enjoy life everywhere. You can enjoy life at all times, because that is the objective of life. You have to become happy. Only true good health leads to happiness. And obviously, once you die, there is no proof of your return. So, do the best as you can. Keep your body in its best possible state. Even if required, borrow, but ensure that it remains nourished in the best possible way. What better advice can there be for a practical approach to life? And then obviously there is no afterlife, and there is no transmigration, and there is no Atma that goes ahead into the next life, because there is no proof for it. And so live now as best as possible. The Charwaks also logically reproached karma kanda. They believed that actions, yajnas and many other activities that people follow are to have a better afterlife. But if there is no afterlife, you are just wasting your time. And then tarpan, which is offering oblations and water, jala as it is said, to your ancestors. They say if you take water in your palms and pour it down, it falls to the ground, it cannot even go to the next floor on top. Then how do you expect it to go from your hands to your ancestors in heaven if they are there. So all that you are doing is just a pretense, just a waste of time advised to you by somebody else. It is their flawless logic that caused all other darshans to oppose and downgrade them, and that is reflected in all the other texts that are around. According to the Charwaks, smartness was in enjoying the fruits of life happily and staying free from sorrow and troubles. Striving for heaven or for good afterlife was foolhardy and a waste of time according to them. The Charwaks believed that sacrificing and suffering in this life for a better life next time was just meaningless. They said there is sorrow all round, but you need not concentrate on that. You concentrate on what is good. Enjoy life. If there is sorrow around, do we keep looking at that or do we enjoy ourselves? Don't we practically do the same thing? Their quote on this was that this is like eating fish. We know that there are bones in between and that they are not good, but that doesn't prevent people from eating fish. According to the Charwaks, life was to be enjoyed in its best possible ways, but with a sound moral backing to your thoughts and activities. They firmly believed in rules and laws. They did not believe in violating the rights of others. There are so many advices that they have come up with, including the ones associated with the existence of God. And it's not just the Charwaks who have done it then. There are later people, even up to date, even today, who have raised doubts about existence of these supernatural aspects. I recollect the great saint Tukroji Maharaj, while commenting about the independence movement, he said, who fought for independence? Who were the freedom fighters? They are the ones who took bullets on their chest and perished. Was it gods who came to fight for your independence? Was it gods who gave you the independence? No. You as an individual had to fight for your rights and strive to achieve them and suffer if required, but achieve what you wanted. And that's recent. But what about the old texts? In the Ramayana and in the Mahabharata too, there are views very similar to the Charwaks that have been expressed. In the Ramayana, there is a dialogue between the Rishi, the sage Jabal and Ram when they met in Panchavati. Jabal Rishi asks him, what are you doing here? Your first commitment as the crown prince is to your people. That is your duty and that is your responsibility. To rule justly is what is expected out of you, and that is your right also. So you cannot, and that is a prime responsibility that you have as a prince. So no other responsibility and no other commitment should have come in between. You should have done your job. You should have been in your kingdom taking care of the people around. So leave Vanvas, go back to Ayodhya, fulfill your prime responsibility as crown prince, follow your Raj Dharma. I am not going to go into the viewpoints expressed by Ram during this dialogue, but the statements are obvious that all other aspects being kept aside, it was his responsibility to be in since he was a crown prince, and not listen to his father and take care of his people, which is what Ram Rajya finally came to in the end. At the same time, Jabal also mentions, because he is told of the death of Ram's father, and Ram is supposed to provide tarpan and perform all the rituals and rites at Panchavati. So Jabal says, your tarpan and oblations and sacrifices here are of no use, because your father and his body lies there. What are you going to do by sacrificing things here? He is in Ayodhya, you should be there, you should have been there. And in the Mahabharata, Vyas, in many of his dialogues, there are so many good quotations. I recollect one with, he says, without wealth you cannot fulfill your dharma also. The same references that I mentioned earlier. A good son whose job is to take care of his parents cannot fulfill that unless he has necessary resources for it. A good king, why should he conquer other countries? Because he needs the necessary wealth to do good for his own people. So artha, that is finances and resources, become most important. What use is a lake that is dry? Because its main resource is water. So a lake without water is useless. It cannot fulfill its dharma or its duties. Its artha, its strength, its power, everything is in the water that it has. These Charwaks argued with everybody and put forward so many logical questions to the many other thinkers. To the Advait, that is a non-dualistic viewpoint, where it is believed that everything is Brahma. The Charvaks say that there is the Jiva, there is the Atma, and there is the Pranavayu. Because you say that the Atma transmigrates to the next life, and the Jiva or the life remains here, which means that they are two distinct, and the Jiva is lost because the Pranavayu or the Prana, the life force, is expended, which implies that these are three independent things. So they cannot be one, and if they are all one, you cannot die. And we all know that everybody around us is finally going to die. So what concept are you going to insist on? Whether it is going to be the Advait or the reality that everything is different. And then about karma phala also, they come up with the same ideas, and that karma is a concept that is accepted even by the Jains and the Buddhists and all the other philosophies, and that's one of the major issues in Indian philosophy. They say your activities here are many a times associated with your activities in the life prior or afterwards. Is that really true? They ask. For a crime that you have committed in this life, your Atma has transmigrated and the body is a new one there, and it is that body that is being punished for a crime committed by the body here, and the Atma is because it is being punished to that body, and the Atma itself has not done any crime. So where is the logic that fits into all this and into this karma phala concept? And whether there is afterlife or not is something questionable too, according to them. Let's be very frank. Do I know my previous life? I don't. Do you? So should I be associated with what I don't even know that I have done in my previous life? And the life before it? And the life before it? Or the life that is going to come afterwards? So should I change my behavior pattern to take into account what is going to happen about my life sometime later on, which I am not going to be ever witness to, remember, or be concerned with? So these are the approaches that the Charwaks took. The Charwak philosophy is materialistic, practical, down to earth in its approach, and based purely on verifiable reality. It does not believe in any speculation. Actually, many of us, in spite of realizing that the Charwaks may be really correct and true, lack the courage to accept and follow their logic. What if God was there is a feeling that's always there behind your mind. This is what the Charwaks are. This is the crux of their philosophy, their ideologies. Since many others could not refute them, they were always cursed and said to be bad, materialistic, selfish, and so forth. I leave that judgment to you. You have to decide whether this is something that we should think of, analyze thoughtfully. If you have liked whatever I have said, pass on this concept of the Charwaks, this Charwak Darshan to your friends. See for yourself what is right, what is wrong. If you have liked all this, please like and subscribe to this channel. I need to talk of the other darshans also and the other ideas that were put forward too. But to that I'll come to next time. Till then, Namaskar.